Hello Loyola, I'm Dennis Cornwall and I'd like to welcome you to Domestically Challenged, a cooking show for people who, without a meal plan or speed dial Stokos, would probably starve. Tonight we're going to be making a taco chili. We're going to need a frying pan, a spatula, a spoon, a can opener, and a large sauce pot. The ingredients we're going to need tonight will be about 1.5 pounds of ground turkey, some cheese, some sour cream, a large can of crushed tomatoes, a can of red beans, a can of black beans, a small can of corn, some ranch dressing mix, and some taco mix. Now you can also add anything you have laying around the kitchen, whatever your preferences are. So in order to get started tonight, we're going to need to brown the meat. Let's take the frying pan and our meat, and we'll get to the stove. Alright, before we get started, let's talk a little bit about safety when you're frying. Whenever you're using a stovetop, always take the handle of your frying pan and turn it in. This prevents anybody from knocking it off and spilling and getting themselves burned. When we brown this meat, we want to start about medium. We'll let the frying pan heat up a little bit. Let's open our ground turkey. Toss it into the pan. Make sure you get any leftovers that are in your container out. We'll need our spatula for this part. We're going to take our handle. Once again, always turn it in. Let's just break this meat up and get it in the pan. We'll get that starting to brown. Now on medium heat, this should take us about 10 or so minutes to cook. Just remember, if you're in a dorm, now's not the time to go to the bathroom or to go visit your neighbors next door while you have something on the stove. Since we have a wood spatula, we're going to let that spatula lay here. If you have any type of metal utensil, it will heat up and you'll run the risk of burns. While we have the ground beef browning, let's go back over and we're going to start the other part of our meal. Alright, a chili meal is a really easy meal, but the hardest thing we're going to have to do is brown our meat. Okay, we take our large saucepan, get yourself a good can opener. Invest in a nice handheld one. I've had this for about 12 years. Let's start by opening up all our cans. And basically, we're just going to pour them all into the big sauce pot. What you really want to do too is save one of these cans, because once we finish browning our meat, we're going to need to pour the extra grease off, and a can is a great way to hold any type of grease. You never want to pour grease down into a sink unless you know a good plumber. Now once we get all these ingredients mixed up, we're going to stir everything together. And the only thing we're not going to put in here is the sour cream and the cheese. Alright, we've got the beans, the tomatoes, the corn. We're now going to put the ranch dressing in, and the taco dressing. And we'll get our large spoon on our ladle. I like to use a ladle. We want to mix this all up good. Get it all stirred in together. It's starting to smell real spicy here. Now basically we want to let this just sit and wait until we get our ground beef ready. And then we're going to add that to the ground beef and start to warm it up. The cheese and the sour cream is going to be a topping once we get ready to serve our meal. Let's do it to see how our ground beef's doing. Chili con carne, which literally means chili with meat, I was paying attention in Spanish class, Miss Story, often is known as chili. It's a spicy stew made from chili peppers, meat, garlic, onions, and cumin. Traditional chili is made with chopped or ground beef. Variations, either geographic or by personal preference, may substitute different types of meat and may also include tomatoes, beans, and other ingredients. The name chili con carne is a variation of the Spanish chili con carne, which means peppers with meat. Chili con carne is the official dish of the U.S. state of Texas. Many argue that chili was invented in Mexico during the 1840s as a replacement for pemmican, which is basically dried strips of deer, elk, or buffalo pounded into a powder and mixed with fat. I guess it's a poor man's protein. Some place chili's origins in Tijuana, Baja California, or Ciudad Juarez. An alternative and more widely accepted theory holds that chili con carne was born in Ensenada, Mexico in the 1880s as a way Porteanos, which is a Texan of a Hispanic descent, stretched available meat. However, this theory does not take into account that Ensenada and Texas are pretty far apart. Chili is said to be the food of forgiveness and reconciliation. We'll see about that tomorrow morning. All right, we almost have our ground beef. It's all brown, as you can see. There's just a little bit of red left. And what we need to do before we add this meat to the rest of our ingredients is we want to pour off this fat. Okay, as you can see, using turkey, there's not a lot of fat. If you had ground beef, you'd have a lot of grease and fat left over. So take one of your cans left over, using your spatula. You want to pour the grease into the can. Okay, and then basically what we like to do is we'll take this grease and we'll put it in the refrigerator or freezer until it hardens, and then we can throw it out. Now if you were to pour this down your sink, what it's going to do, it's going to harden when it's in your pipes, and then it's going to clog your pipes up. And like I said, unless you know a real good plumber, you don't want to clog your pipes up. So now that we have our ground beef ready, let's grab the rest of our ingredients. And we're basically going to add the beef to the meat. I mean, to the rest of the ingredients here. Put it in there. And we're going to put that back on the medium heat on the same burner. And we're going to mix all our meat into our other ingredients and warm this up for about 10 minutes. After about 10 minutes, your chili is going to be ready. We're ready to serve. So we want to get a dish I have right here. Take your ladle, put some into our dish. Now we're going to add our cheese and sour cream. Basically, it's a garnish. For those of you who do or don't like sour cream, you can or can't add. Take our sour cream, throw a little on top, and there you have it. Bon appetit. Or I guess the Spanish translation will be Appetito Bueno. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Dennis Cornwall with Domestically Challenged. We'll see you next time. Enjoy.